Okay, it's official. I've become a concrete groupie. It was so exciting to come up to the build site and see this piece of equipment erected over our future home. We were in time for the first pour of the truck. Truck 1, 2, and 3 arrived like clockwork 10 minutes before pour time. Then I thought Arturo was waving at me. Oh no, he was telling the man on the lights exactly where he wanted the light, a crucial part of early morning pouring. Then everyone had their job. Okay, I'm a church-going lady, but this is called the vibrator, and it's placed in the concrete at strategic time. And that guy, oh no, look, he's going to bury a cigarette in our slab. Anyway, his job was to smoke and carry the cord. Okay, there's Arturo. He is the hose handler at this time, a crucial part. Then the men to the right, they're like putting bits of crushed granite if any concrete decides to leak out. Fill in the holes, as you would say. Here comes Mr. Vibrator. Okay, so the light guy, I don't know how he put up. There were so many bugs. I don't know how he could breathe by the end of the night. There we go. Far left is the pump operator. He is holding a remote control and he is controlling the pump, paying attention to the hose handler as to where the pump needs to be and how much concrete he wants out of it. So he really has to pay attention. I also didn't know that an articulating boom is associated with the color lime green. So you can see it there in the picture, and also the controller is wearing a lime green. So that's the symbolic color of articulating booms. Guy in the middle right there, walking between the two cement trucks, he's designation traffic control. He was telling the trucks when to come in and when to leave, lined up of concrete trucks coming down the road. And we're just finishing up the perimeter. You can see the two most important people of the project, the hose handler and the pump operator. I did take a nap, but I heard trucks roaming through the whole time and woke up to this. They're at this stage when I woke up. That was kind of fun, 2 hours later. Then it was time to go do a donut run. On my way back to the site, there's my money rolling down the road, heading back to the property. Truck 22 and 23. The exact timing was not the same across the entire slab because different sections were poured at different times. The crew continually tested and read the surface rather than relying on a fixed time. As a finisher knows how to distribute his personal weight and recognize the surface can support him. Depending upon the stage, the equipment being used, the workers may be using finishing shoes, knee boards, or machines with broad contact areas to spread their weight more over the surface. They also only step where the concrete has developed significant resistance. If they enter too early, they leave deep footprints, disturbing the elevation and damaging the surface. And if they wait too long, the concrete may become too hard to finish properly. Concrete setting enough time for finisher to work is very different from being ready for ordinary use. Initially, setting means that the material is losing its plastic workable condition. Being able to carefully support a trained worker does not mean it's ready for the homeowner, foot traffic, materials, or vehicles. The curing and strength development continues for days, even weeks after placement. Concrete gains as much of its strength during the first weeks, but can continue hardening beyond that point. Experienced finishers do not determine the readiness by looking at a clock alone. They watch the amount of moisture or sheen on the surface. Observing the depth of a footprint can feel the resistance of the concrete beneath their tools. One portion of the slab may be ready for the next finishing operation, while a later section is still too soft. Wind, temperature, shade, and sometimes each truckload was And sometimes the time each truckload was placed can cause different areas to progress at different rates. The crew must therefore follow the condition of the concrete as the workable area moves across the slab. Watching this crew made it clear that no position operated alone. The lead placement worker directed where the concrete was needed. The lightning man followed the instructions so the crew could see the work. The hose crew communicated with the pump operator. The placement crew supplied the direct amount of material for the people to establish the elevation. The float and finishing crew followed behind, only when the concrete was ready. Every person had a separate responsibility, but all of them were responding to the same changing material. It reminded me of an orchestra because everyone knew his position, but each person also had to watch and listen to the others. The concrete trucks established the pace. The pump moved the material. The hose crew directed it. The placement workers spread it. And the leveling crew established the surface. And the finishers followed as the concrete began to set. Oh, but unlike an orchestra, however, this crew cannot stop and begin the performance again. Once that first truck was unloaded, materials chemical clock was already running. Once the concrete was placed and finished, the visible activity slowed down, but the chemical work inside the slab continued. Concrete needs moisture for cement hydration and reaction through which it develops its strength. If the surface loses moisture too quickly during the early curing period, it can dry and shrink faster than the concrete beneath. Keeping the surface moist helps support continued hydration and reduces the risk of early drying and shrinkage, cracking. So, Russ watered the slab and I watered the slab. Till next time, this is where we're at.